Hey, welcome to Morning Manna. We're in the midst of 21 days of prayer and fasting. This is the start of week 3, and for the past 2 weeks, we've talked about pursuing holiness. Pastor Chris described the process of consecration, being set apart for God by setting aside things that weigh us down, taking something off and putting something on in its place. 1 Peter 1:14-15 says, "As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance, but as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, since it is written, 'You shall be holy, for I am holy.'" Sometimes we let ourselves off the hook when it comes to holiness in the way that we live because we recognize that we're sinners saved by grace, and maybe without knowing it, we emphasize our status as sinners rather than those saved by grace. Through grace, the unmerited favor of God, we're empowered to live differently than our sin nature desires. We're empowered to live according to the instructions given to us in God's Word. Romans 12:1-2 says, "I appeal to you, therefore, brothers and sisters, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by the testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." We are called to holiness in what we do and how we live daily in our actions. And those actions begin with our thoughts. If we're going to live differently, we need to learn to think differently. At Manna Church, our first operational principle is that the Bible is the handbook for life. It means that everything we need for life and godliness is in the book. Have you ever studied for a test, like spent hours memorizing facts only to forget them right after the exam? Well, that's because memorization is only a small part of understanding. When it comes to the Bible, we need to know what it says, and memorization can be an important part of that. But in order for our thoughts and actions to be transformed by the Word, we need understanding. Throughout the rest of this week, we're going to ask God to open up His Word to us, to give us understanding. And to do that, we're going to use what some refer to as an ancient training tool. I hope to see you tomorrow.